Meghan Markle's obnoxious hypocrisy has just been exposed as she tells Prince Harry, finally, get a job. Do you remember that old song? Get a haircut, get a job. I guess for Harry, it might be get a hair transplant and get a job.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Scamelot, is selling matches.
You are not going to believe what happened when I opened the box, when I got back. There's no wick again.
Meg, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for new items to include in my As Ever collection.
In the kitchen drawer?
Why not?
I take it you haven't heard what people are saying about your As Ever matches?
That it lights up their lives?
No.
On May 28th, 3 simple words popped up on the brand's social media page. Arriving tomorrow. It looked like a small teaser, just a quick hint about what was coming next. But the next morning, the mystery was finally revealed, and the announcement had plenty of people raising their eyebrows. The new product tied to Meghan's lifestyle brand, As Ever, was a box of matches. That's when the conversation really started heating up. These matches were promoted as the perfect way to light the brand's candles, but there was an awkward detail hanging over the launch.
She's selling matchsticks. Okay, she's not doing a clothing line. She's not doing homeware. She is going to sell matches. Apparently these are luxury matches.
Several customers had previously claimed that some of their candles arrived without usable wicks, leading to a wave of online jokes and criticism. Then came the luxury angle. The company presented the item as limited edition matches, giving them an exclusive feel. Still, many people online questioned the idea, pointing out that matches are usually one of the most common and inexpensive household items around. For critics, the whole thing felt more surprising than luxurious. There was another twist. The matches were not sold separately at all.
There are no $100 candles on my site. That's so obnoxious. I just want things that you can have. And so I want people who really understand that ethos and enjoy sort of the fun and frivolity of it all.
Oh yes, you're finally realizing what we think about you, Meghan. Totally obnoxious.
Instead, they were included as a complimentary item inside certain candle bundles. The most expensive package, the Signature Scent Collection, includes 4 candles plus the free matches and carries a price tag of $256, or roughly £190. That pricing quickly became another major talking point across social media. That's a serious price tag for a few candles and a box of matches. But the product itself wasn't the only thing getting attention.
Of course, that was the year 2016 that she started dating Prince Harry. 10 years on, her critics pointed out that she is currently selling her own scented candle set for more than double the $100 price tag.
Soon, a promotional photo set off a completely new wave of reactions online. This wasn't a random picture taken by chance. It was an image that had been carefully chosen, approved, and shared by the brand. The photo showed a candle burned far down the middle, creating a clear tunnel effect. On top of a box packed with fresh, unused matches sat a single burned match. It might have seemed like a small detail, but people online spotted it right away and started talking about it.
She dismissed as obnoxious. Yes, it's the $256 Signature Scent Collection. But all of this is desperate, isn't it?
Before long, comment sections were filling up with observations, jokes, and criticism. Some people compared it to selling accessories for a product that customers were already questioning. Others simply couldn't get past the odd visual of a used match resting on a box full of brand new ones. The image quickly became its own talking point. The reactions soon split into 2 camps. Some wondered if the whole thing was meant to be funny or ironic. Others focused on the customer reports involving candles that allegedly arrived without usable wicks. Several commenters joked that if customers needed matches to light the candles, maybe they should also receive a guarantee that the candles could actually be lit. One joke making the rounds summed up the mood.
I received a Meghan Markle wickless candle, and so I have to ask, what am I supposed to light? What am I going to light because I have no wick? Okay, kind of like Prince Harry these days. The wick is missing. I have no wick. I'm wickless, and she's witless.
I'm wickless, and she's witless. Whether people found it funny or not, the internet certainly ran with it. For many observers, the entire situation felt bizarre and hard to believe. What made it stand out even more was the contrast. Here was a brand connected to someone who had spent years in global headlines, linked to major media ventures, high-profile partnerships, and worldwide attention. Yet much of the online discussion was now centered on candles, matches, customer complaints, and viral jokes. To be fair, no company should be judged entirely by a single reported product issue. One problem doesn't automatically define an entire brand. However, the conversation didn't end with one customer claim.
Plus, a limited edition matchbox you can only get by buying the bundle. £190 in the UK, $256 in the US. The candles are tunneling. So the wax burns down the center of the candle instead of across the whole surface, which is what happens when you use cheap paraffin.
Another well-known reviewer also reported receiving a candle without a wick, adding even more attention to the growing debate. That said, there's an important detail that often gets overlooked. The second reviewer's candle reportedly came through a third-party seller, and that seller maintained the candle had a wick when it originally left their possession. Because of that uncertainty, it's only fair to treat that particular claim carefully and avoid jumping to firm conclusions based on that report alone. But interestingly, the issue that kept drawing the most attention wasn't the missing wick discussion.
Instead of soy or beeswax. One critic, on the record in the British press, put it plainly. That's because she's using very cheap and toxic paraffin wax. Cheap and toxic.
Instead, many people focused on something else entirely, the candle's burn pattern. Specifically, critics pointed to what candle enthusiasts call tunneling, a situation where the flame burns straight down the center, creating a deep hole while leaving thick layers of unused wax around the sides of the container. For people familiar with candle production, tunneling can happen for a few different reasons.
Meghan over the weekend was promoting her new jams. Apparently everyone in her family likes a different jam. Are you ready to hear about it?
Everyone in my family has a different favorite. My husband loves the raspberry, Lily loves the strawberry. Arch wants both, and I like the marmalade.
In some cases, the wick may be too small for the jar. In others, the wax blend may not burn as evenly as intended. Because of that, some critics associate this type of burn pattern with products they view as lower quality, rather than with high-end luxury candles. That became a major talking point because customers paying premium prices typically expect a polished experience from start to finish. Some online commentators even started questioning the quality of the wax itself. However, that's where it becomes important to separate verified information from personal opinion. Since the brand has not publicly released a detailed ingredient breakdown, those claims remain unverified speculation and cannot be independently confirmed. Even so, the online reaction became difficult to ignore. Social media users began creating nicknames and jokes about the launch.
Aww, Arch loves both. I thought I had a story to tell you, but then I kind of changed my mind because I realized he likes them both. Anyway, apparently she's lying about this and everything else because it's all just to sell products. And again, she's in her fake kitchen as she's selling this stuff. So she must have taped this a while back when she was taping her Netflix show, which is no longer there.
Some critics referred to Meghan as the Temple Duchess, while others labeled the rollout scam jam. To be clear, these were internet jokes and expressions of dissatisfaction aimed at the marketing and customer experience, not factual findings, legal conclusions, or proven claims. Another detail also caught people's attention. According to the brand's stated policy, purchases are generally non-returnable. As a result, some customers who worried about product concerns felt they had fewer options available if an item arrived, in a condition that didn't meet their expectations, adding another layer to the growing online discussion. Critics argued that charging roughly £190 for a premium candle bundle naturally creates high expectations.
I was shocked, Dan. Like when I first initially saw this post on X about it, I was like, no, there's just no way. Because there's so much misinformation out there about Harry and Meghan in some ways. But then I was actually putting the numbers in and you're getting stock counts. And I'm like, you should never, ever see that on a website. And in case, unless they have like one or two left, they will let you know that.
Especially when discussions about product quality are already making the rounds online. Then, right in the middle of that debate, the brand unveiled its latest addition, matches. For many observers, the timing felt unusual, given that so much of the conversation was still centered on the candles themselves. To understand why the matches attracted so much attention, though, you have to look back at the brand's earlier chapters. According to critics, the questions and challenges surrounding the project didn't suddenly appear overnight. They say the brand has been dealing with hurdles since its earliest launch efforts. Originally, the venture operated under the name American Riviera Orchard. The title generated plenty of curiosity and media coverage, but it also reportedly ran into trademark-related complications.
But to have potentially 37,000 fruit spreads sitting out there is astronomically bad.
Reports indicated that the US Trademark Office raised concerns because the name was closely linked to a geographic location. There were also reports of objections involving similarities to existing brand names already in the marketplace. As a result, the original branding strategy faced obstacles before it could fully gain momentum. Eventually, the company shifted course. American Riviera Orchard was dropped, and as ever became the new Identity, a shorter, simpler name that appeared to avoid many of the earlier trademark concerns. Then came the brand's first major product launch, jam, more specifically, strawberry jam packaged in limited quantities, and reportedly sent to around 50 carefully selected influencers, celebrities, and high-profile contacts. The strategy seemed clear: build excitement, generate headlines, and get people talking about the brand from the start. The rollout followed a familiar influencer marketing playbook. The idea appeared to be that carefully selected recipients would share polished photos across social media, creating a wave of attention and curiosity. Supporters viewed it as a smart promotional move.
But here it is, the new scented candle, which we have also on her website, $5.19, because, you know, it's the day they got married, May 19th. Our signature scent, modern and elegant, love at first light. I see what she did there. Number 519 is the feeling of warm sunshine and blue skies, surrounded by love and laughter.
While critics questioned whether the buzz would translate into long-term success. Either way, it succeeded in getting people talking, and that conversation quickly became one of the brand's biggest storylines. At least that appeared to be the expectation. But according to many online observers, the rollout didn't unfold the way some had anticipated. Instead of a flood of promotional posts, glowing endorsements, and non-stop social media buzz, the reaction seemed surprisingly muted. Many people noticed that a large number of the gifted jam jars never appeared publicly at all. There were only a handful of photos, limited public praise, and far less visible excitement than some expected from a group of high-profile recipients. That quickly became a talking point among critics who had expected the campaign to dominate social media feeds for days or even weeks. Some online users even joked about the jars quietly ending up in celebrity kitchens, tucked away behind everyday pantry items, and never making it into a single Instagram post. While those comments were made in jest, they reflected a broader perception among skeptical observers that the launch failed to create the level of excitement many thought it would. For those critics, the jam rollout became an early warning sign. What was intended to generate headlines and momentum appeared, in their view, to lose steam almost as quickly as it arrived. Around that same period, some social media users began using the nickname Scam Jam. To be clear, that label was an expression of online criticism and commentary, not a factual finding or proven claim. Even so, the phrase spread widely among critics and became part of the conversation surrounding the launch. The larger criticism wasn't necessarily about the jam itself. Instead, many skeptics focused on the overall strategy. They argued that the brand appeared to lean heavily on Meghan's public profile.
This signature candle is inspired by the ease and joy of a day that holds Meghan's most cherished memories, her wedding day. May 19th, bright and refreshing, with quietly grounding notes of Moroccan mint, white tea leaves, and a back note of woodsy cardamom. Number 519 fills the room with a soothing, welcoming fragrance that remains our founder's tried and true favorite, housed in a beautiful ceramic vessel. A vessel.
And celebrity connections, rather than relying solely on the products to generate interest. According to those critics, the assumption seemed to be that strong branding and name recognition would be enough to turn everyday household products into highly desirable luxury items. That's why some people draw comparisons between the jam, the candles, and now the branded matches. In their view, the same formula keeps reappearing. Whether the product is jam, candles, or a box of matches, the debate remains largely unchanged. By the time discussions about candle complaints and branded matchboxes were making the rounds online, many commentators felt they had seen a similar pattern before. To them, it wasn't an entirely new controversy. It was simply the latest chapter in a conversation that has followed the brand for quite some time. Now, this is where many observers say the story takes an especially interesting turn. To understand why some critics have focused so much on the brand's current pricing, you have to go back nearly a decade. In 2016, Meghan appeared at a conference in Atlanta while promoting her lifestyle blog. During that appearance, she reportedly said, "There are no $100 candles on my site. That's so obnoxious." At the time, the image she projected was notably different from the one critics see today. The emphasis back then was reportedly on products that felt accessible and within reach for everyday consumers. The message centered on stylish but practical purchases, items people could realistically picture bringing into their own homes without spending a fortune. That approach helped distinguish the brand from the ultra-premium products often associated with celebrity lifestyle ventures. Which brings the discussion back to that memorable word, obnoxious.
So then Prince Harry, he goes over to the phone. Prince Harry, he picks up the phone. "William, I've made a terrible mistake, my brother. I'm coming home." And then William has to inform him that they've given his room away to Camilla to put her clothes and her tiaras and her heels in there. So then Prince Harry, he packs everything in a bag. Prince Harry throws everything in a bag, and then he goes down the driveway of the Montecito mansion to get in a taxi cab, and he looks back dramatically like they do in the movies.
Many critics have highlighted what they see as a sharp contrast between those earlier comments and the prices attached to some of today's products. The signature scent candle collection currently sells for $256, which is more than double the price point referenced in the comment she made years ago. For some observers, that shift has become one of the most talked about aspects of the brand's evolution. In their view, the affordable lifestyle image, once associated with Meghan's public brand, has gradually transformed into something much more exclusive. Whether that change reflects a new business strategy or simply a different market position is open to interpretation, but it has certainly generated discussion. Then came another detail that grabbed attention online. One of the candles in the collection is called No. 519, a reference to May 19th, the date Meghan and Harry were married. According to the brand's marketing materials, the candle is designed to evoke the atmosphere of that special morning, with descriptions focused on sunshine, blue skies, joy, and celebration. The concept is straightforward. Offer customers a scented reminder of a meaningful personal milestone for $64. However, critics were quick to point out another angle. Over the years, various media reports about the preparations surrounding the royal wedding have described behind-the-scenes challenges and tensions. Because of that, some observers felt the marketing's idyllic portrayal opened the door to renewed debate and discussion online. One story that attracted significant attention over the years involved reports that Meghan was unhappy with the scent inside the historic chapel where the royal wedding ceremony took place. According to various media accounts, concerns were allegedly raised about the atmosphere inside the centuries-old venue, leading to discussions about introducing additional fragrance before guests arrived. Those reports suggested that some staff members viewed the idea as unnecessary because of the chapel's history, importance, and long-standing traditions. Whether every detail in those accounts is completely accurate remains a subject of debate. However, the story has continued to resurface in royal commentary and media discussions for years, becoming one of those anecdotes that never quite fades away. Adding another layer to the conversation, luxury fragrance brand Diptyque later indicated that scented products were used as part of the wedding preparations.
And then he gets in the car and he flies back to London Heathrow. And then when he lands in London, he remembers he left two important things at the mansion, Archie and Lilibet. The end.
While that does not settle every question surrounding the reports, it helped keep public interest in the topic alive. As a result, discussions about the venue's fragrance and wedding day atmosphere have remained part of the broader narrative surrounding the event. That's one reason some critics find the marketing behind number 519 especially noteworthy. The candle is promoted as a tribute to the atmosphere and emotions of the wedding day, while older reports about fragrance-related discussions at the venue continue to circulate online. For those observers, the contrast stands out and has become another source of commentary and debate. Still, the candle discussion is only one piece of a much larger picture. Critics argue that the broader issue isn't necessarily about any single product. Instead, they point to what they view as a recurring pattern involving high-profile launches, major publicity efforts, and ongoing questions about whether consumer demand ultimately matches the level of marketing attention. Many critics cite the Netflix partnership as an example. After Harry and Meghan signed a widely publicized deal with Netflix in 2020, reports later suggested the company became involved in supporting aspects of various projects connected to their media and business ventures. Over time, however, industry reports indicated that the relationship evolved. By the following years, reports suggested the original arrangement had shifted to a first-look deal structure, which many industry observers viewed as a more limited commitment compared with the initial agreement, sparking fresh discussion about expectations versus long-term results. Then came reports earlier this year suggesting that Netflix was no longer involved with the consumer products side of the business. Whether that change was simply a strategic business decision or reflected broader considerations behind the scenes has never been fully explained publicly. Even so, the development sparked another round of speculation and discussion online. Additional reports soon generated even more questions. Various articles and online conversations claimed that certain unsold products, including teas and baking mixes, were being distributed internally after sales allegedly fell short of expectations. There were also discussions about a reported website issue that some claimed exposed inventory information that was not intended to be publicly visible. Those reports circulated widely across social media and entertainment coverage. However, many of the details remain unverified, making it difficult to determine exactly what happened. Because of that uncertainty, some critics have become cautious whenever they hear claims that products are selling out almost immediately. Their skepticism often comes back to the same point. Critics argue that from the outside, it can be difficult to distinguish between genuine consumer demand, intentionally limited inventory, and marketing strategies designed to create a sense of exclusivity.
So Meghan Markle, she is selling basic matchboxes for approximately $222. You do get some of these candles though. So they come in a big candle set behind the candelabra, okay? She's marketing them as a limited edition item. And these are her candles that are inspired by her children. You know, she's using her kids' royal titles to sell these candles.
As a result, debates continue over what sold-out announcements truly represent. For some observers, one question keeps resurfacing. If products are consistently selling out at extraordinary speed, why introduce complementary matches as part of candle bundles? To those critics, the strategy seems confusing. They argue that when demand dramatically exceeds supply, businesses typically don't need additional incentives to encourage purchases. That's one reason the Matchbox launch attracted so much attention. Critics contend that including a free extra alongside premium-priced products can create what they see as mixed messaging. On one side, customers hear that products are selling out quickly and generating strong interest. On the other, they see additional promotional items being added to selected purchases. Of course, companies may include complementary items for many reasons, including branding, customer experience, or product presentation. Nevertheless, skeptical observers continue to question the timing. In their view, the combination of rapid sellout claims and added promotional extras creates a contrast that doesn't fully add up, making the Matchbox rollout another focal point in the broader debate surrounding the brand. Of course, there may be perfectly reasonable business reasons behind the decision to include the matches, but that hasn't stopped online commentators from offering their own theories. Some see it as a routine marketing move designed to add value to a purchase. Others believe it may have been an effort to bring fresh attention to products that were already generating criticism and debate. Whatever the explanation, the conversation has only become louder. As people look back over the brand's recent history, they often point to a growing list of controversies and discussion points. There were the customer reports about candles allegedly arriving without usable wicks, complaints about tunneling, the promotional image showing a burned match resting on top of a matchbox, and the premium pricing that continues to divide opinion online. Critics argue that these issues weren't created by competitors or hostile commentators. In their view, the controversies emerged from the brand's own decisions, marketing choices, and product rollout strategies. That's one reason many observers find the situation so striking. This isn't a small startup trying to find its footing with limited resources. Meghan has access to experienced advisors, branding professionals, media expertise, and opportunities that many entrepreneurs would love to have. Because of that, critics often say their expectations are higher. When a brand positions itself in the luxury space, customers and observers tend to scrutinize every detail more closely.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now. You have kids, and you go, no, I share my name with my children.
Yes.
And that feels so, I didn't know how meaningful it would be to me, but it just means so much to go, this is our family name, our little family name.
Small mistakes that might go unnoticed elsewhere can quickly become major talking points when premium prices and high-profile marketing are involved. That brings us to one of Meghan's own comments, which sparked another round of discussion. During an interview with Harper's Bazaar, she reportedly said, "The moment that you start making all of your personal decisions based on external judgment, then you lose your authenticity." The quote quickly gained attention, and critics were ready with their responses. Some argued that lifestyle brands are built almost entirely around public perception, from carefully staged product, photography and curated home imagery, to branding decisions and personal storytelling. They say success often depends on creating a connection with consumers and maintaining a positive public image. From that perspective, critics contend that public opinion inevitably plays a major role in determining whether a lifestyle brand thrives or struggles. That's why the quote became yet another topic of debate online. Some questioned how a business centered on presentation, branding, and customer appeal aligns with a message about not being guided by outside opinions. Whether that criticism is fair or not remains open to interpretation, but it continues to resurface whenever the brand finds itself back in the spotlight. And the discussion didn't end there. The same interview also sparked conversation about reports that Meghan is sometimes introduced by her royal title at certain events. Supporters see that as completely normal, noting that it is an official title and part of her public identity. Critics, however, argue that it can seem at odds with the themes of independence and authenticity that have often been emphasized in public messaging. That contrast is one reason the story continues to attract so much attention from royal watchers, commentators, and critics alike. With nearly every new product launch, the discussion often expands far beyond the product itself. What starts as a conversation about candles, matches, or jam can quickly turn into a much larger debate about branding, public image, celebrity influence, and the difference some observers believe exists between messaging and perception. Another interview added even more fuel to the discussion. Speaking with Bloomberg, Meghan reflected on her experience as a working royal and reportedly said that wearing nude tights had felt inauthentic. The remark quickly gained traction online. Many critics found it surprising that hosiery became one of the examples highlighted in a broader conversation about authenticity and personal expression. Since then, some commentators have continued comparing those earlier remarks with the image associated with the brand today. Large media partnerships, luxury lifestyle products, and premium-priced collections have all become part of the ongoing debate. Observers have also pointed to products inspired by personal milestones and family memories, noting how closely the brand connects storytelling with its commercial offerings. That's where the authenticity debate becomes especially heated. Supporters see a business built around meaningful experiences, personal memories, and a carefully developed brand identity. Critics see a different picture. They argue that there is a widening gap between public messages about authenticity and the reality of marketing luxury products at premium prices. Whether people view that as a contradiction or simply the natural evolution of a public figure building a business depends largely on perspective. But one thing is clear: the conversation keeps growing, and each new launch seems to add another chapter to the ongoing debate surrounding the brand and its public image. And then there are the candles themselves. Critics have repeatedly questioned how a luxury candle collection can command premium prices while also facing reports of quality concerns. Whether those complaints represent isolated cases or point to a broader issue remains a matter of debate. What's clear, however, is that the discussion hasn't faded away and continues to generate attention online. The matches were introduced as the finishing touch, the extra luxury detail meant to complete the collection. At least that was the impression many people took from the launch. But instead of bringing the conversation to a close, the branded matchboxes ended up creating an entirely new round of questions about the candles they were designed to accompany. That's part of what many observers find so unusual about the situation. Rather than shifting attention away from existing criticisms, the matches seem to direct even more focus toward them. Critics argue that when accessories are added to a product already facing scrutiny, consumers naturally start examining the main product even more closely. Looking at the timeline, it's easy to see why the debate has continued. There's a wedding-inspired candle linked to a date that has been discussed and analyzed for years. There's a premium candle collection carrying a price tag of roughly £190. There are ongoing online conversations about product quality and customer experiences. Then, right in the middle of those discussions, came the launch of branded matches intended to complement the collection. For critics, those events all connect into a larger narrative about branding, marketing, and consumer expectations. Supporters may see a luxury lifestyle brand expanding its product range, while skeptics see another chapter in an ongoing controversy. Either way, the matchboxes didn't quiet the conversation. They gave people even more to talk about. It's not hard to see why this story has generated so much discussion online. For many critics, the real issue isn't the matches themselves. Instead, they argue that the focus often seems to be on the presentation, branding, and marketing, rather than the products at the center of the conversation. The polished photography, luxury packaging, and carefully crafted storytelling all help create a sleek and sophisticated image. But for many customers, the biggest question is much simpler. Does the product live up to the expectations being set? That's ultimately what much of this debate comes down to. No matter how strong the branding may be, consumers want products that deliver the experience they were promised. Now I want to hear from you. What's your detailed opinion on this entire situation? Would you spend around £190 on this candle collection, complete with the complimentary matches? Or do the reports, criticisms, and ongoing controversies leave you with too many unanswered questions? Share your thoughts down in the comments below and let everyone know where you stand on this debate. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future royal news, controversies, and updates. Your support helps the channel grow and keeps these conversations going.